If you want to ride as fast as you possibly can without spending a fortune, then this brand new Reacto is a safe and solid choice. I've clocked up nearly 1,000 miles of riding time on this bike ever since I did my first look, linked above if you missed that. I've been really impressed. Good performance, ride quality, comfort, handling, and value for money. It hits all the right notes. So in this video, let me share my observations for riding this bike, what it's been like to live with, some of the component and frame highlights, and give my verdict at the end of the video. So let's dive into a bit more about ride quality, and I'll just share some of my observations based on riding it for nearly 1,000 miles on all my local roads. It has not failed to this point at all. As you'd expect from an aero bike, it is really fast. This bike shoves along the road with brilliant pace. It really does a good job of transferring all your energy, all your watts into forward momentum. And then the handling is excellent too. It's not too fast, not too slow. It changes direction really quickly and feels really good in the corners. And then the ride comfort is actually surprisingly good for a bike that's not really focused on comfort like aero bikes usually aren't. But the improvements the company has made to the bike over the previous 3 generations have really refined the comfort. So you've got space and wide tyres, got a neat seat post design, and a frame that clearly optimised to provide as much comfort as possible whilst maintaining the optimum aerodynamics. The ride quality has really impressed in terms of smoothness, despite only having 25mm wide tyres. Now, out of interest, I swapped the wheels and tyres because of clearance for up to 30mm tyres. So I fit some carbon wheels with some 28mm tuber tyres, and the ride quality, as you expect, went up. Much more smoothness, I could dial in the pressures a bit more, and really helped this bike to live up to the all-round tag the company has given it. So pretty good in standard spec, don't get me wrong, but if you're looking at this bike, a good upgrade down the line would be a nice set of carbon deep section wheels with some tubular tyres. That's the ride quality taken care of then. It's also worth going over some of the frame details and equipment choices and my observations from spending as much time on this bike as I have done. And if you missed my detailed first look, that's linked above if you missed that for all the juicy details on this new bike. So as I mentioned, it's a new bike for 2021. It's a 4th generation Reacto, and it builds on the previous generation, not by being more aero. It's a little bit more aero due to a new integrated front end, but I've also tried to make it a more rounded, more all-round package, so better comfort, better handling, as well as maintaining the same aerodynamics as the previous model, although slightly improved. The attention to detail on this Reacto 6000 is really good. One of the standout details is a new integration on the front to keep all the cables out of the airflow and to minimise drag. We don't have the one-piece carbon handlebar and stem you get on the higher-end models, but they're using the FZA stem, which routes the cables underneath the stem, underneath the plastic housing into the head tube. Now you have spaces underneath the stem, and you can remove those and slam the stem if you need to, so plenty of adjustment on the front end as well. A downside to the cables going through some quite tight corners, it has to be said, is the shift feel is not as good as a non-integrated bike. Basically, the shifting feels heavier due to the way the cables are routed. It's not the biggest issue, but Shimano is famed for its light shift quality, and it's not quite as light as it should be, and compared to bikes like the Giant TCR where the cables aren't integrated. The cables on that go around a bigger curve, and the cable shifting is much nicer, much smoother, much lighter. Now after a while, after weeks of riding, you get used to it. It's not the biggest issue. This carbon fibre seat post is a neat aero design and has a cutout at the back. And that cutout, not the material inside it, that's just to fill the space there, is to provide a bit more compliance. Basically allow the seat post to flex more under big impacts and big loads. Introduced on the last generation bike and does work really well in combination with wide tyres that you can run on the bike to offer quite a high level of smoothness. As smooth as other aero bikes like the old Venge, the Trek Madone as well, so it's not far off that bike in terms of comfort, so really good. Internal seat clamp underneath this little rubber bung here, nice and easy to use. And unlike another bike you might see on my channel, we have a nice smoothed off section for the seat clamp, so no nubbin there, technical term. And swapping the bike around, you can see some very distinctive, unique cooling fins on the brake calipers, which are designed to basically cool the brakes under extreme use. Now, with a lack of mountains and mountain descents here in the UK, I've not really been able to test the bike. Now, I do have some very steep descents where you can get the brakes really hot and you smell the brakes really heating up in the air, but not sustained enough where those cooling fins would probably be a benefit. But they look pretty cool, though it might add a bit of weight. But what do you think? Let me know down below. The power transfer on this bike is really good, and that's due to massive oversized chainstays and a PF86 oversized press fit bottom bracket, the same as Giant use. No creaks during use, really reliable, not had any issues at all. As is the way with high-end road race bikes these days, got dropped seat stays, more dropped than the old model for claimed improved aerodynamics and ride comfort. Look really neat. Got unusual elbows at the dropouts, internal cable routing everywhere as well, 2 bottle cage mounts, and it has to be said, a really nice paint job. Really nice blue with this gloss speckle finish on the top over a matte finish on the down tube. And I love the orange decals, really pop. Yeah, I like it. It's a good looking bike. I think they do a more conservative all black finish, but why wouldn't you buy the blue and orange one if you had a choice? It's a stunning looking bike. Because Merida is a massive bike company, they have great buying power, and the value for money the bike offers is first class. You get a full Shimano Ultegra mechanical disc brake group set, good finishing kit, nice saddle, carbon seat post, FSA stem, the company's own handlebar, some high quality Conti pure grip tyre. Not the highest end Conti tyre, not the German made black chili ones, but still a recognised brand. And I found them to offer good grip, rolling resistance, and no punches at all, touch wood. The Fulcrum 800 wheels are good, not amazing, but good. And where the bike offers an opportunity if you're buying this bike, is that it's priced very reasonably, £2,600 for this model. Is down the line, in the future, when you've had the bike for a while, you could upgrade the wheels to some fancy carbon fibre wheels, maybe go tubeless with some wide tyres, plenty of space for wide tyres. So a wheel upgrade on this bike would definitely elevate it to another level, or you just go higher up the range in the Reacto range, plenty of choices for your budget. So it's a really enticing package, but out of the box, with no changes made, maybe the saddle, it's a really compelling, really fast, great handling bike that really surprises you. It might not have the cachet of other brands, but in terms of performance, looks, and value for money, it hits all the right notes. And it's a bike I'd happily own. It does everything I want in a road race bike. Just really fast, pretty decent comfort, and it's not going to cost a fortune as well. And as I mentioned earlier, you could always upgrade the wheels and tyres if you're feeling a bit flush, or you want to save up a bit further down the line and make it a little bit flashier, a little bit faster perhaps. When it comes to price and value for money, this bike really is hard to beat. This model here costs £2,600, and you get a Shimano Ultegra mechanical shifting group set with hydraulic disc brakes, a good set of Fulcrum 800 deep section wheels, and some high quality Continental Grand Sports race tyres. The finishing kit is all good as well. Got Merida's own handlebar, nice compact drops, easy to reach from the saddle position, and an FSA stem because that's the integration solution they're going with. The only thing I would change is the saddle. The saddle's not my personal favourite. The shape just doesn't work for me. So that's something I did change when I clocked up there 1,000 miles. If you want a cheaper version, there's a model costing £2,200, which is a cracking deal for a full carbon aero race bike with good upgrade potential. And if you're feeling flush, you can go right up to £9,000 for the team edition bike in the splendid orange with a Vision one-piece carbon handlebar, dual race Di2, and all the spangly carbon extra as well to keep the weight down and give you plenty of bling factor on your club ride. So a good range of options, really affordable at one end and pretty high end at the other end. So taking into account the superb ride quality, the fantastic value for money and the good specification on this bike, it is an easy bike to recommend. As I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to go fast without spending a fortune, this Reacto 6000 is an easy bike to recommend, and a bike I'd be happy to ride and race if I was in the market for a new bike this year. Now, hopefully the review has been useful and interesting to you, and if you have any questions about this bike, do put them in the comment section down below. Make sure you like this video, enjoy watching it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Also follow me on Instagram for more behind the scenes from all the latest test bikes I'm getting to review at the moment. Plenty more coming on the channel soon, so make sure you hang around. But that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next time.